The courtroom fell silent, a heavy tension hanging in the air. My uncle, James, straightened his expensive silk tie, his face radiating smug confidence. With a theatrical flourish, he declared, "Your Honor, I purchased all 12 properties from my brother, fair and square. I have the signed documents right here." His lawyer, equally self-assured, slid a thick stack of papers across the table. Judge Martinez, her expression sharp and skeptical, raised an eyebrow. She glanced at the documents, then turned her piercing gaze to me. "Miss Shin, your response to your uncle's claim?" I opened my laptop, my hands steady despite the weight of the moment. Maintaining eye contact with James, I connected my device to the courtroom's display system. "Your Honor," I said calmly, "I'd like to present a video recorded at Sunrise Valley Nursing Home 3 weeks ago. The date and timestamps are fully authenticated." Before I could continue, James's lawyer leapt to his feet, his chair scraping loudly against the polished floor. "Objection, Your Honor," he shouted. "This evidence wasn't submitted during discovery." A faint smile crossed my lips. "Actually," I replied, my voice measured, "it was." Page 47 of our evidence list clearly includes video testimony from Richard Shin, dated March 15th. Your office acknowledged receipt. The judge nodded, her expression unyielding. "Objection overruled." "Proceed, Miss Shin." As I pressed play, I watched James's face transform. His smug certainty melted into growing horror, his eyes widening with each passing second. On the courtroom's large screen, my father's face appeared tired but clear-eyed, his voice steady and resolute. In that moment, he began to unravel James's elaborate scheme to steal our family's legacy. But to understand the full weight of this moment, let me take you back to the beginning, to how this battle began. I'm Anna Shin, 34 years old, a corporate lawyer specializing in real estate transactions. My father, Richard Shin, was a titan of determination. After immigrating to America in the 1980s with little more than a dream, he built a thriving property development business from the ground up. Through decades of relentless hard work, he acquired 12 valuable commercial properties across the city, each one a testament to his vision and grit. The crown jewel of his portfolio was the Shin Plaza, a bustling shopping center in the heart of downtown. But every property had its own story, its own purpose. There was the apartment complex he painstakingly renovated to provide affordable housing for immigrant families, giving them a foothold in a new country. There was the office building where he offered preferential lease terms to minority-owned businesses, helping them grow and thrive. And then there was the old warehouse he transformed into affordable artist studios, a haven for creativity in a city where such spaces were vanishing. Each property wasn't just a building, it was a piece of my father's heart, a commitment to community over profit. While my father built his legacy through honest work, his younger brother, James, chose a different path. James was always chasing the next big thing, get-rich-quick schemes, shady ventures, and questionable deals that inevitably collapsed. He was the kind of man who saw every situation as an opportunity to exploit, always looking for the easy way out. "Your uncle just needs time to find his path," my father would say with unwavering patience whenever James came asking for money. Over the years, Dad bailed him out of countless financial messes, always believing his brother would eventually turn his life around. But 3 years ago, everything changed. My father was diagnosed with early-onset Alzheimer's, a devastating blow to our family. Watching this brilliant, detail-oriented man struggle with basic tasks broke our hearts. My mother, Mary, became his primary caregiver, pouring her love and energy into supporting him. As his condition worsened, we made the painful decision to move him into specialized care at Sunrise Valley Nursing Home, a facility known for its exceptional memory care program. That's when James saw his opportunity. He started visiting Dad more frequently, always when I was at work, always with a stack of documents in hand. He'd claim they were routine business matters, things Dad had supposedly discussed with him earlier. The nursing home staff later confided in me that they felt uneasy about these visits, but James insisted it was family business and claimed he had authority to handle Dad's affairs. It was a calculated move, exploiting Dad's illness and the trust he'd always placed in his brother. I first sensed something was wrong when I reviewed Dad's quarterly property management reports. Lease payments for several properties had been redirected to unfamiliar accounts. Digging deeper, I uncovered paperwork claiming James had purchased all 12 properties for a fraction of their true value. The documents were dated over the past year, during periods when Dad's confusion was at its worst. It was clear James had taken advantage of his own brother's illness to steal millions of dollars worth of property. Dad would never sell the plaza, I told my mother, my voice trembling with anger. He planned to pass these properties to us, to continue serving the community. We have to fight this. James, however, had prepared well. He had documents, witnesses tied to his latest shady ventures, and a carefully crafted story about Dad wanting to simplify his affairs before his condition worsened. It was a convincing facade until I started gathering evidence of my own. What James didn't know was that I'd been quietly documenting everything, every suspicious visit, every questionable document, every irregular financial transaction. More importantly, I'd been working with the staff at Sunrise Valley to record Dad's moments of clarity. Their memory care program was exceptional, helping residents preserve and document their lucid periods. With their support, I recorded Dad's statements about his properties and his relationship with James. In one powerful recording, Dad's voice was firm and clear. "I would never sell the plaza," he said. "That's for Anna to manage, for the community. James knows this. He's trying to steal what I built." These videos, authenticated by the nursing home staff, became the cornerstone of our case. We filed a lawsuit to void the property transfers, alleging fraud and exploitation of a vulnerable adult. James countersued, claiming the sales were legitimate and demanding the courts enforce his contracts. That's how we ended up in that courtroom, watching his carefully constructed scheme unravel. As the video played in the courtroom, Dad's voice filled the room, methodical and unwavering. He went through each property, explaining its significance and his plans for its future. He directly addressed James's claims, pointing out specific details that proved the sales were fraudulent. "The warehouse," Dad said on screen, "James claims I sold it last August. I was in the hospital with pneumonia all that month. Check the records, I wasn't signing any documents." The judge leaned forward, her attention locked on the screen. James's lawyer, who had been so vocal earlier, fell silent, whispering furiously with his client. Dad continued, "The plaza contract shows I signed it on Mom's birthday. We were all at her celebration dinner that day. James wasn't even there, he was in Las Vegas that weekend. Check his credit card statements." One by one, Dad dismantled James's lies, recalling dates, meetings, and details with a clarity that left no room for doubt. More than the facts, the video showed Dad's mental state during these recordings. "My brother thinks because I'm sick, I don't remember," he said, his voice heavy with sadness. "But I remember everything he's doing. He's stealing from his own family." When the video ended, the courtroom was silent, save for James's heavy breathing. His lawyer stood slowly. "Your Honor, my client would like to request a brief recess to discuss." "To discuss what?" Judge Martinez interrupted, her voice sharp. "How to explain the multiple instances of fraud just revealed? The apparent forgery of documents? The exploitation of a vulnerable adult?" She turned to James directly. "Mr. Shin, I've seen many property disputes between family members, but this is extraordinary. You took advantage of your own brother's illness to steal his life's work." James tried one last desperate defense. "Your Honor, those videos could be edited," he stammered. "My brother's condition means he's easily confused." I was ready. "The videos are authenticated by the nursing home staff," I interjected. "We have their sworn statements about Dad's mental state during filming. We also have security footage of your visits, showing you pressuring Dad to sign documents while he was heavily medicated." James's lawyer began packing his briefcase, his face pale. "Your Honor, given this new evidence, my client would like to withdraw his countersuit and discuss a settlement." Judge Martinez shook her head. "Oh, we're way past settlement," she said firmly. "This court is referring this matter to the district attorney's office for criminal investigation. Mr. Shin, I suggest you find a criminal defense attorney. As the gavel fell, I watched James's face crumple. He'd assumed Dad's illness meant there would be no consequences for his actions. He'd underestimated Dad's moments of clarity and my determination to protect our family's legacy. The judge's ruling was comprehensive. All property transfers to James were voided. He was ordered to repay any rental income he'd collected, plus penalties and legal fees. The evidence was referred for criminal prosecution for elder abuse and fraud. Leaving the courthouse, my mother squeezed my hand. "Your father would be so proud of you," she said, her eyes glistening. "You protected everything he built." The aftermath of the court case sent shockwaves through our extended family. James's reputation was shattered. His business associates, learning how he'd tried to steal from his sick brother, distanced themselves. Criminal charges followed, resulting in a plea deal that required full restitution and barred James from any involvement in property transactions. He eventually moved to another state, but not before one final attempt at manipulation. "You've ruined me," he told me during a chance encounter at a family funeral, his voice dripping with resentment. "My own niece, destroying my life." I looked at him calmly. "No, Uncle James," I replied. "You ruined yourself when you tried to steal from your sick brother. I just made sure there was evidence." The Shin Plaza and our other properties continued to serve the community, just as Dad had intended. I took over management, implementing the plans we'd discussed during his lucid moments at Sunrise Valley. The warehouse artists kept their affordable studios, creating vibrant works that enriched the city. The immigrant families in our apartment complex stayed in their homes, building stable lives. The minority-owned businesses in our office building grew and thrived, contributing to the local economy. Dad's Alzheimer's progressed, as it inevitably does, but he still had moments of joy. The nursing home staff would drive him past the plaza, and his face would light up with recognition. "Anna manages now," he'd say proudly. "She understands it's not just buildings, it's community." Those words became my guiding principle as I expanded Dad's vision, adding affordable housing units and a small business incubator for immigrant entrepreneurs. The video that exposed James's scheme became a teaching tool at the local bar association's ethics seminars. Estate lawyers used it to highlight the vulnerability of elderly clients and the importance of documenting capacity. James's lawyer faced sanctions from the state bar for his role in the fraud, admitting he knew the documents were questionable but claimed James had assured him they were legitimate. "A lawyer's duty is to the truth," the Bar Association panel wrote, "not to enabling family members to steal from vulnerable relatives." Years later, I discovered James had attempted to take out loans against the properties during the period he claimed to own them. The banks, through their due diligence, had flagged issues with his ownership claims and declined the loans. This led to a new policy at our management company, regular audits of all property records and loan applications to ensure no one could attempt such a scheme again. The Shin Plaza became a beacon of hope, hosting community programs and events that kept Dad's vision alive. My mother moved into a cottage on the plaza property, starting a support group for families dealing with early-onset Alzheimer's. She shared our story as a warning about protecting vulnerable relatives. The nursing home strengthened its protocols, requiring independent verification for any legal or financial documents, and used Dad's case to train staff on preventing financial exploitation. Dad's moments of clarity grew less frequent, but he never lost his connection to the properties he'd built. Sometimes, he'd point out the nursing home windows, describing buildings only he could see. "Each one has a purpose," he'd say. "Each one helps someone." His legacy wasn't just in the physical structures, but in the lives they touched, the families, artists, and entrepreneurs who thrived because of his vision. James's daughter, my cousin Sarah, reached out a year after the court case. She'd found her father's notebooks, revealing the full scope of his schemes to defraud other family members. "You stopped him before he could hurt more people," she said, sharing the documents that led to additional charges against him. The Shin Family Foundation, established in Dad's honor, provided scholarships for immigrant students and grants for community development. The warehouse artists created a traveling art installation about memory and family, dedicated to Dad, raising awareness about elder abuse 0.5 years after the court case. The Shin Plaza hosted a community celebration of Dad's vision. Tenants, residents, and community members shared stories of how the properties had changed their lives. "Mr. Shin gave us a chance when no one else would," said Mrs. Rodriguez, who opened her first restaurant in the plaza 20 years earlier. "Now my children have opportunities we never dreamed of." James never returned to family gatherings, his shame or anger keeping him away. But his betrayal had an unexpected effect. It brought the rest of our family closer together. We established a family council to oversee the properties, ensuring decisions aligned with Dad's mission. The legal community took notice, and I spoke at conferences about elder financial abuse, using Dad's video testimony as a powerful teaching tool. Dad's legacy grew beyond the buildings. It lived in the communities that thrived, the families that found stability, and the stories of resilience that inspired others. The courtroom video, which had exposed James's fraud, became part of our family history, a testament to Dad's strength, even in the face of cognitive decline, and his unwavering commitment to the community he loved. The judge's laughter at James's claims was just a fleeting moment, but Dad's vision continues to change lives. His legacy isn't just in buildings or legal victories, it's in the responsibility to use what we have to uplift others, a truth no fraudulent document could ever steal. Please feel free to comment below if you liked this. Remember to like and subscribers for more.